I call with progressives like these who needs neocons. So we just had a story where the United States Pentagon did not want to refer Russia for war crimes at The Hague because they didn't want to open up the United States American soldiers for that. And that's one thing of my favorite story of 2023, just like the George Bush fraudulent slip, because it says everything about our empire and the contradictions. But despite these contradictions, you have the NATO left who they are proud to be an active agent of the U.S. empire. That is why they are not the best among us. The new job of AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the squad is to be the progressive PR wing of the U.S. empire. You have Marianne Williamson. Oh, we got to be in Afghanistan because Afghan women. Bernie and the progressives sold the lie that that Biden is supporting Ukraine because we care about the Ukrainian people. They are there to give the illusion of progressive progress among the empire, meaning they are propagandists of the highest order. And I am not exaggerating. I want to talk to anyone about this. I rank them the same level of Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Same level. They do different shit. Like Joe Manchin's an out-and-out neoliberal guy. But when you look at what AOC and the squad cover for, they perform the same role and they are responsible for the same harm as someone like Joe Manchin. They're the kind of people who manufacture consent for increased Capitol Police funding, which was later used against indigenous people. And God knows how many protests since then. That's the example I always use because that's what I covered at the time. But God knows how many protests they shut down since then. But that was the squad is used to manufacture consent for. They was here to push Russiagate so they can later justify Ukraine war. Guys, they're not the best among us. They are active agents of Democrats in the empire and must be resisted. And that's the position the boutique left and NATO left cannot handle from us. Now, despite the NATO and boutique left, they lose influence. People had enough of the NATO left bullshit. That's why you seeing these people being called out. And Pramila, not I can say Pramila, but Rashida Tlaib, her body language here says it all. I'm gonna let the video play. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this is that was tweeted by Citizen Free Press. Rashida Tlaib confronted at University of Michigan over her pro-war stance in Ukraine. So you can tell by her body language when you watch this and the protocol. CJ, as we explained before, they're ready for this shit now.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen the videos. They know this shit's gonna happen. They know they're in the wrong. And look at this cowardly weasel known as Rashida Tlaib. And look at what she does to get out of it.
So this is the last question.
That's not how we're doing questions.
Nope.
Any place that you could get more money for the Wayne County region, that it would come from the $100 billion that we've sent to over $100 billion to Ukraine to fight a war. Which I
look at that smirk.
Look at dude on the left. He's like rolling his eyes.
The ear scratch.
Yeah.
He looks like he's almost slumping down.
Yes.
What a weasel. I think isn't he the guy on CNN that's supposed to be progressive or something like that?
Yeah, I think he ran for something.
Yeah. And then the girl on the right, that's the COVID doctor lady, isn't it?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. Continue. But anyway, go ahead.
If we're talking about moneyed interests and talking about big lobbying groups, that there wouldn't be more of an effort to go after that. Further, the revelations recently over the Nord Stream pipeline explosion from Seymour Hersh, which point to the very clear evidence that it was the United States that did the bombing.
Look at that. She's like, oh my God, this motherfucker exposing our crimes. Oh my God. Who does that?
Yeah.
They think about like CJ. We had this conversation yesterday. Like these things that they do, like the term purity ploys, will never like semi-principle. That what Cal Lindsay say about these people.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? Like they say and do things that we would never do. Like it shows their nature and is inherently different than ours. Their soul has already sold out, so they can't control these ticks. So when this guy mentions the fact that the United States blew up Nord Stream pipeline, my reaction would never be,
no.
Like, dude, I would never have that reaction. That's her first human reaction to hearing this. Is oh, this nigga's exposing us. What? Even if I was elected, let's say I was an elected official, let's say I was good faith, and I didn't even know about this. He'd be like, hey, let's say he brings this up, I'll be like, what? Like it'll be completely different. I'm like, what are you talking about? Let's say if I'm playing, I don't know. What? The Nord Stream. I wasn't briefed on that, sir. What? That what you do if you're good faith. Look at what she does. Immediately like, fuck. Look at her.
You know what? Hold on, Nick. Let me say this.
Go
Can you rewind it back to her just to where you can see her on there? And let's
watch the first part again, and then I'll pass to you.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
County region, that it would come from the $100 billion that we've sent to over $100 billion to Ukraine to fight a war, which I can't imagine if we're talking about moneyed interests and talking about big lobbying groups, that there wouldn't be more of an effort to go after that. Further, the revelations recently over the Nord Stream pipeline explosion from Seymour Hersh, which point to the very clear evidence that it was the United States that did the bombing, I think is a very important thing to identify, because you, Congresswoman, have not voted against the funding of Ukraine. And it puts to the lie the whole notion of the rules-based. It's an important question. Let me finish.
I know it. Write it down.
And so my question is, if
Write it down.
if you're promoting this idea of the rules-based order, yet we proceed to blow up pipelines, including in ally Germany, then
this is crazy.
Will you continue to go along with this lie?
Habibi, thank you. We really appreciate the input, and thank you for your care and consideration. We have a process that we've been following. I think.
Here we go. Civility politics. Yeah. We have a civility politics that comes say. But let me say this point: what he's doing, and what these smirks and these ticks on their face is that the thing that everybody in this room is pretending to not know about. There's a person who's calling them and saying, "Hey guys, look at this elephant right here that we're all who are supposedly progressive, that we're pretending didn't happen. I'm going to go ahead and put this mirror up to your guys' faces and tell you right now, the Nord Stream pipeline, I'm saying it out loud, everybody, all of you who are pretending to be left and pretending not to know this, and that's the reaction. It's like, damn.
Well, and they're pretending.
I'm on camera. And somebody's saying this out loud. I no longer can pretend that I don't know about this. Damn. Go ahead, Misty. Sorry.
Well, and they're also pretending the people in the room are like keep saying this isn't related because they're talking about the water situation in Michigan. And this isn't related. Yes, it fucking is. We've sent over $100 billion so far to the most corrupt country in Europe. Who knows where that money is? Well, we know where the money's going. It's going to defense contractors and weapons manufacturers and Zelensky's nose. But it absolutely is related. All of this stuff is related. And I need people to realize that, like, every single thing that we talk about is interconnected. Every single thing. All of these things are connected. They all go back to a central, and that it really just goes back to a corrupt system. But if you care about education, that is also connected to clean water. If you care about, like, all of these things are tied together. And his question regarding sending $100 million to Ukraine and not talking about the fact that Joe Biden blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, allegedly, I don't want to get you in trouble. But that absolutely is related to the fact that we can't get clean water in this country.
Absolutely.
There's no question about it. It is related.
And them implying otherwise is them apologizing for the empire. You guys understand? They're saying, oh, the war machine is not connected to your struggle. And we make the argument that it is.
It is.
It is. They're here to tell you that you can be agents of the empire as long as you play nice. You can benefit from the empire. That's the message that the NATO left constantly want to send. Now let's go back. Look at this, how they just completely ignore this question. And Rashida knows this. Her mindset here is like, oh, fuck, they let a real one in. Oh, finally a good question. And this is why this is not a critique at all. Could have 100% been meaner. Like, this would have been great. It is Jose. This is why I'm pro interrupting politicians. And now that we see this, and this is why it's so important to analyze these as activists, our strategy at these things need to be you bring a friend, you speak, and when once they shut you down, the other person starts speaking.
Yes.
That's such a great tactic. Such a great tactic.
And the plan is to not have a conversation with them because they will not do that anyway. The plan is to get your message out. And once they shut you down, you keep talking until they physically apprehend you because that message is powerful enough.
Yes.
Then once that happens, the other person goes until they physically apprehend you. I'm a big fan of this. And
yes.
When I have my chapter in Kansas City, I definitely could see myself following this footstep. Like, I wouldn't call out Emmanuel Cleaver to his face.
Yes,
that would be great.
Everybody should be doing it. Seriously, like I'm gonna see if I can figure out a way to get some people together. Everybody should be. Politicians shouldn't be able to go anywhere without being heckled. The state of the country right now. I'm sorry, I don't do civility politics. I don't give a fuck. If you sign up to be an elected official and you're not doing your job, you should be ready to be called out on a regular basis. And literally, people are dying, and they want me to be nice about it. Fuck off.
And you don't see, and this is what our point, CJ. I'll pass to you. I see you about trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you see how they weaponize civility politics, and this is RBN's number one message. And we're going to continue to make the boutique left uncomfortable because we refuse to give an inch into civility politics because civility politics is the enemy of the working class. Look at how look at what they do to shut down the anti-war activists. Are they showing him civility? Are they being nice to these protesters?
Are they nice to Julian Assange? Or were they nice to? No, absolutely not. They're not nice to us at all. They're killing us.
They're not nice to us, so we shouldn't be nice to them. So I'm going to go back 20 seconds. I want you guys to see this again. This is how they weaponize civility politics.
Rules-based order. We proceed to blow up pipelines, including in ally Germany. Then will you continue to go along?
Look, you see that part? That's the part I want to cover as well. Look at this. He's grilling them on the crimes that they are supporting. So the originator goes to Rashida.
Yeah. Can you guys tell what he says?
Look,
like,
he
try
said,
to read his. Should I let him finish, or is that what he says?
Yeah, let's
and she says no.
Like, he pretty much like, do you want to take this question?
Will you
look?
Do you want to answer him? Do you want to answer him? And she says no.
No.
Fuck you.
Oh my God, that's weak as fuck, man.
Yes, it is.
That is weak as fuck. But listen, Misty and Nick, we have to really just take 10 seconds to just understand the left is being protested for war. This is the left.
Oh, fucking ridiculous.
It is so, like, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
The left is the one that's being protested for war and pushing back and making excuses and ducking and diving. The left, man, this is so, this is why crazy. I say this is such a different, this is not a regular time.
No.
Like, Marianne Williamson in work. No, she won't, man. This is such not a regular time where the left is doing this. This is so.
To be fair,
so bigger.
This is not the left. These are hipster liberals. These are people who LARP as leftists in order to siphon revolutionary energy into a corrupted system. That's all that they're here to do. They are not actually leftists, and that's again why these labels are so often used as to be co-opted and used to divide, because they label these people as the left when they're not, and then that is used to cause confusion, and then people don't understand each other, and it's just Rashida Tlaib is not a leftist, nowhere close to a leftist. I'm sorry, you don't get to be a leftist and then support Nazis, actual fucking Nazis.
I feel like really? That's I understand. Like, I feel like that's not unreasonable.
That's pretty basic.
I feel like that's not unreasonable.
That's pretty basic.
I feel like we got the most out of that video, so I'm gonna move on for a second time to our segment is with progressives like these who need steel crimes. So we saw Rashida Tlaib. That's the most recent version, and now you guys, I'm gonna explain why we are so oppositional to these people. I embrace their hatred. like whenever I see one of these Bernie, Marianne Williamson people get upset at us for criticizing them, I'm like, goddamn right, I criticize her. We didn't do it again. I want you guys to dislike us because the policies that you guys are supporting is unacceptable.
Yes.
Unacceptable. So we saw Rashida Tlaib be the nice little NATO left military industrial complex supporting bootlicker that she is. In this interview between Marianne Williamson and Jordan, it's so glorious. Like me and CJ, we reacted to it a while ago. This interview, I had no interest in watching this, and then we did a breakdown. I was like, this is great because Jordan was asking her questions with the hope that she was getting these things right.
Yeah.
And you can see like the visible disappointment.
Yes.
And it's like, you can tell like he was asking her questions with the goal of proving people like us wrong about it. Like CJ, do you get that same vibe? Like he was asking her questions.
Yes, absolutely.
Us wrong. And then she was giving her answers, and he was like, oh shit, the RBN motherfucker was right about her. Like you can tell. And this is one example. The other example is when he asked her about, he said Bernie was weak on calling out Biden corruption. He he used the Zephyr Teachout example. And then he said, will you not make the same mistake that Bernie did and call out Biden's corruption? And then she immediately was like, what do you mean Biden corruption? And then Jordan was like, for the love of God, please don't do this. I got a statement like that shit was a blast. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that was a fun segment.
My favorite part is when she brings up the German Green Party as like an excuse, and I'm like, homegirl, they're like far right. Really, you think that because they're green that's no? She doesn't even know like what she's supporting. Like she doesn't even know. She's completely ignorant about the thing she's actually supporting. It is mind blowing.
And remember, I'm gonna play this clip now. Remember, this person is running to be commander-in-chief, but RBN is supposed to take this seriously, guys. Here it is.
It just seems like there's like a blank check here for Ukraine, but not serious efforts by Biden to actually try to.
And that's the funny part about the question, because Jordan asked the question to kind of make it clear, like, Marianne, should be our position here. He's
trying so hard.
I don't know if you saw the interview, Misty, but
yes,
CJ, I don't know if you remember it, but he was like, there are people struggling in Flint, Michigan right now, and despite that, they send all this money in Ukraine. So he's telling her that as like hey, by the way,
he's trying
he's
so
like, this
hard.
Is the progressive line right here, Marianne. Let me explain you the progressive line right here. Then I'm going to ask you a question right after.
He's like giving it to her on a silver platter, and she's still fucked it up.
It's still fucks it up. It's
amazing.
So let's watch it again. This is unbelievable.
It just seems like there's like a blank check here for Ukraine, but not serious efforts by Biden to actually try to accelerate diplomacy.
First of all, the United States doesn't have the power. You know, neither Ukraine nor Russia are interested right now in sitting down at the table. The money, I don't think it's accurate to say we're giving a blank check.
Lies.
So the country that is literally financing this entire war, you have to realize that multiple NATO countries already tapped out.
Yeah.
The United States is funding this program exclusively. You have like a very small percent. You got like 80% of funds by the United States in this. But Marianne says we're powerless.
Dude, we are almost wholly, like, listen, not just us, but other NATO countries, but the United States specifically, and I don't even, like, come for me if you want, we are almost entirely responsible for provoking this conflict. Yes, I said it. It's not unprovoked. We absolutely provoked it. Are you joking me? People keep saying, oh, well, doesn't Ukraine have a right to defend itself? Doesn't Russia? What, doesn't Russia have a right to defend itself against NATO expansion and the fact that we've got nuclear weapons on their borders? And really, they don't have a right to defend themselves either. Like, you're the hypocrisy and to actually pretend like we care about the sovereignty of Ukraine. We overthrew their government and installed a puppet. We don't give a fuck about the sovereignty of Ukraine or Syria or Iran or anywhere else. That's not our gig. We don't give a shit. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back a little bit and we let it continue. This is only 50 seconds. So I'm gonna let it play the whole time because I could stop this a lot, but I think I literally think the answer is so absurd. I literally don't have to explain anything anymore. So I'm gonna let it play all the way through because I think it's absurd.
It just seems like there's like a blank check here for Ukraine, but not serious efforts by Biden to actually try to accelerate diplomacy.
First of all, the United States doesn't have the power. You know, neither Ukraine nor Russia are interested right now in sitting down at the table. The money, I don't think it's accurate to say we're giving a blank check. We are giving financial support and military support. There is no doubt about that, which I support. I support the same way that other leftists in Europe support. The Green Party of Germany supports the giving of those tanks.
Fascist.
You think the United States is the leading superpower in the world, who frankly is NATO, has no power here to...
At this point, Jordan is dumbfounded, like, oh, I cannot believe she's doing this on my channel.
He's so uncomfortable. I love it.
I think at this point, Jordan's like, damn, RBN is definitely about to use this clip. Fuck.
So I might as well do my I might as well do my journalistic best and get these questions out of her, because this over for this one.
I give him props. Those good questions in the interview. I give him props for that when I watch that.
Jordan does some good work. He just
I give him props for that. So let's continue.
To kickstart diplomacy.
Right now, both Ukraine and Russia are saying, hey, wait a minute, we're winning. I mean, that's the position of both of those countries right now. So maybe you're right. Maybe the United States could say, hey, guys, stop right now. I'm not under the impression that the United States could say, hey, guys, stop right now.
It just seems like there's like a blank check.
That's a loop. So that's Marianne Williamson on Ukraine. And I showed this before, but it's going with a segment that with progressives like these who need neocons. And even when I looked at Marianne's Israel rhetoric, her Israel rhetoric is very easy to trick like NATO boutique leftists who are not well disciplined on this issue, because she speaks about like we got to stand up to the Palestinians while she still like support the concept of Israel and the two-state solution. So what we have seen is the result of the two-state solution. The two-state solution led us to where we are right now. Any other interpretation that is wishful thinking, that there's somehow a better implementation of two-state solution. If only Israel wasn't fascist, the two-state solution would work. Yes, you're right. The problem is they're fascist. They're like saying America in the 1950s. They're like, man, separate but equal would have worked if only America wasn't racist. The problem is America's racist. That's what people like Marianne Williamson does. So I read it yesterday, but I'm doing this again for the sake of this segment. Q, our friend of the show, he's during one of Marianne Williamson's Zionist unhinged Twitter rants that she deleted. She had a lot of people like Q and people that liked her, like I used to, that was trying to explain this stuff to her. And the way she was doubling down, it what kind of made me like, nah, she's done to me, right? So Q, being very nice, she probably thought he was mansplaining her though. Being very nice, explains how the state Israel was founded on the violent expulsion and liquidation of indigenous Palestinians. So what does it mean when you say, what she does all the time, that Israel has the right to exist, especially considering that very state is engaged in a campaign of ethnic cleansing as we speak? And this was last year. No, I mean, I think 2021. It's way worse now. And then you have Marianne Williamson that says, in response to this fact, I am not enrolled in your interpretation of events. For one, who the fuck talks like that? Sound like
politicians.
Sound like a supervillain. I'm not enrolled in your interpretation. What are you talking about? This is Marianne Williamson's version of alternative facts.
Are you showing the tweet? The video is still on the screen if you're showing the tweet.
Shit. Let me
there we go.
Yeah, on my new version, I gotta put an extra button.
Yes, it's annoying.
So damn, you gotta see the whole thing. But at least I read it. But this was This is Marianne Williamson saying, I'm not enrolled in your interpretation of events. Genocide denial. Like if a right winger did that would be considered genocide denial. But a Zionist, not a deal breaker for progressives. Not a deal breaker for them. And also, the last receipt I have on this story, the same people who apologize for Marianne Williamson, like Breaking Points, is also cited about Katie Porter.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, she's terrible.
Who's best buddies with Benjamin fucking Netanyahu? Are you joking me?
Remember the title of this segment, but progressives like these who need neocons. Well, as Israel is at the height, and I did segments before because RBN, unlike the boutique left, actually covers apartheid. I did a segment where I explained how Benjamin Netanyahu is actually putting the most far-right Leopard members of Israel, the most far-right fascists and high members of government, and people keep calling him a moderate. And I realized, like, that's actually propaganda, because Benjamin Netanyahu is empowering these people, and they say, oh, I'm the good guy. But he's not. He's doing everything they want. So it's actually complex propaganda that I didn't even see through at first. I was like, yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu was like a moderate among these people. Now, then I reflected again, like, no, they're actually doing a very complex.
He's literally one of the worst people on earth.
So I admit that.
Literally.
So Netanyahu brought these people to rehabilitate his image as he continued doing Netanyahu shit.
Mm-hmm.
So as Netanyahu continued his reign of terror, you have Katie Porter that is saying this. She's extremely impressed by Netanyahu after she visited Israel. But this is the person that Breaking Points is propping up, along with Marianne Williamson. And the same with John Fetterman. So how many times do they keep making these mistakes before they stop becoming mistakes?
Yeah, they're not mistakes.
At what point do we say they are a pro-Zionist channel? Are we allowed to say that? Are we allowed to say that they're a pro-Zionist, pro-empire channel? Because they keep popping up pro-Zionist, pro-empire candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Any last thoughts you guys have? And I still have the Tlaib section as well.
Yeah, this also can go maybe progressive, except for Palestine. Like, there's a lot of different overlapping layers, but this speaks to just the broader context of the realignment. Like I was saying, like, we're protesting war, and the people who are defending it are the left. Like, this is like a sort of a realignment, and it literally comes from them latching on to the Democratic Party, them wanting to be in the good graces of the Democratic Party, you know, like the progressives, and then the people who want to be in the good graces of the progressives, all of like the Bernie industrial complex, they latch on to them. So Democratic Party moves right, everybody moves right who's latched on.
Yeah.
And we're moving left. And that's the separation. And that's why, and to speak to your point, this will be my last point, to speak to what you said earlier, Misty, these are single issue people we would team up for just single issue.
Yeah.
These aren't like buddy comrades. These are my community. That's not what this is. These are single issue people we would team up with. And that's who would like Anina Turner. We need to get away from the idea that we're teaming up with them for some sort of revolution. That is not the case. That's not.
No, absolutely not. And I think that that's what so many people are failing to understand. Listen, again, like I said, I'm selfish. Okay. I want to get some shit done. And so I am willing to do just about anything to get some stuff done. And especially when it comes to war, especially when it comes to something like freeing Palestine or getting the fuck out of Syria. I don't care if Matt Gaetz wants to introduce a resolution into Congress, I'm going to fucking support that shit to get troops out of Syria. You're goddamn right. I am, unapologetically, every single time. I mean, and like CJ just said, the idea that there was a vote recently to end the sanctions on Syria, which just experienced a devastating series of earthquakes. Thousands of people died. They are struggling like you would not believe. And only 2 people voted against this shit. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey.
Ridiculous.
And meanwhile, our good buddies, our good friends Israel, are bombing the airport in Aleppo, where all of the aid is coming in for the victims of the earthquakes. And we're enabling that, and we're continuing our sanctions. So don't come and talk to me about how we care about human rights or sovereignty. We're occupying Syria illegally and have been forever. We're not welcome there. We never have been. We're stealing their oil. We're sanctioning them. And then when they experience a devastating natural disaster, we continue to sanction them and allow Israel to bomb their airport so that they can't get aid. Again, we are not the good guys at all. And it's the right who is and that's not to say that the right is anti-war. They're very hawkish on China, and that's Caitlin Johnstone. If I don't know if you guys saw that thread of tweets that she put out, but she summed it up so well. She said on China, it's the right that's very hawkish on China, with there's some Democrats that go along with it for the numbers, and it's the opposite for Russia. The left is really hawkish on Russia, and some of the right, and that's how they play you. That is exactly how this all works out. It is one team. It is all a charade. It is a soap opera with psychopaths. That's all that this is. They're putting on a show for you. They are all owned and operated by the exact same people, by the exact same weapons manufacturers and the exact same defense contractors, and they all work to continue war because that's what their donors want. And they are not on different teams. They are on team them, and it is us against them. And that is why I do not care if it means I got to work with some Trump voters to get our troops out of Syria or to free Palestine. You're fucking right. I'll do it. And you can come for me if you want to. I make no apologies for it, and I'm going to continue to do it. So stay mad.